Ice scrapers and elbow grease. You're going to need both this morning if you left your car outside overnight. Freezing rain coats the car windows, and it's not the easy stuff to remove. So plan a few minutes to chop through that ice before you hit the road.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with the Valley today. I'm Lisa Bedeau here with Jordan Schreier. We're just getting started with our nonstop news and weather to the top of the hour to help you plan your day. People in the Grand City's Children's Choir are among the friends mourning the loss of 15-year-old Jonah Borth from over the weekend. He was shot and killed in Northwood, North Dakota. And now the choir group that he was part of is dedicating Saturday's Dessert Cabaret fundraiser to help Jonah's family. A Facebook post says the show is at 7 p.m. Saturday at Hope Church in South Grand Forks. Police are asking for help finding a woman missing from Bismarck. She is 32-year-old Chelsea Graves, who also uses the last name Appelt. Her last location was the home of an acquaintance in Mandan, but left sometime last week with a guy named Troy. Anyone with information about Graves' whereabouts is asked to contact Bismarck Police or your local law enforcement. As we mentioned at the top of this block, you really have to scrape that ice off the car, and that also means there's ice on the roads, Lisa.
That's right. Looking at conditions that are quite icy in parts of the valley. We've had reports of ice in eastern North Dakota. On our North Dakota DOT road conditions map, you can see just a whole sea of yellow here in the eastern part of the state, and yellow means ice, and there's some continuous ice being reported even on I-29 right now. So this is something to take seriously in eastern North Dakota, but also northwest Minnesota too. We had some reports of some ice on Highway 2 there. This is a view from one of the Minnesota DOT plows. We're looking out in the Red Lake Falls area, some spray onto the windshield of the vehicle. There's also been that little bit of fine mist and freezing drizzle impacting us on the roadways, and roads are just not great. And not only are those roads not great, we talked about the windshields being a problem for us, but even just stepping outside, even if you're not driving anywhere today, your steps, your sidewalks are going to be icy. Those parking lots, something to keep in mind. Not only this morning, but even into the afternoon and evening, we're going to be dealing with this freezing drizzle impacting us. And we'll add potentially some spotty areas of light snow on top of that too as we work our way through the day. So here's a look at our visibility. So this is a sign when we look at the visibility map of where we have moisture in the air. Anywhere where we're below 10 miles, that's where we're dealing with perhaps some mist, some fog, and with temperatures below freezing, that deposits onto roadways and onto those sidewalks. But on top of that, of course, some very low visibility, creating an extra hazard here down in places like Oaks, where we're at 0. And in Cooperstown, we're at a quarter-mile visibility, and other places in that lower range. So make sure you're taking it easy yet again here this morning as you're heading down the roadway. And we'd really appreciate getting some reports from you on those conditions. We're live on Facebook right now. You can just type in the comments section what you've been seeing, what you're seeing out your window here. Until noon today, we're looking at some conditions that are going to be lasting into that morning hour time frame, maybe even beyond these conditions. And for that reason, we have a winter weather advisory in effect for the valley. And checking out your radar, there's still some snow out there too, on top of the freezing drizzle in places like Barnes County. It's moving eastward, so we're looking at this potentially impacting the Fargo-Moorhead area this morning. Temperatures below freezing, but mild, teens to some 20s. And as we work our way through the day, expect more of the same. Mostly cloudy skies, freezing drizzle, and again, even into the afternoon, some spotty areas of light snow continuing into tonight. I'm hoping today's the last of it. Tomorrow we start to see gradually some of those clouds break up, and then heading into Saturday and Sunday, much better, warmer with a chance at some sunshine. And now for a look at traffic. Here's Devin Fry with the Valley Today's Traffic on the Move.
Thank you, Lisa. We've returned to the interstates now to finish up this hour. We are on I-94. We are heading west toward Bismarck. Now, it's gotten a little bit busier than it was this morning, as you can see, especially over in the eastbound lanes. It's pretty much a steady line of traffic, but overall, it's still moving relatively smoothly. Now, things are moving slower today, obviously, because these roads are very slick. We're going about 45 miles an hour here in the westbound lanes of I-94. Really, nobody is going faster than that. Even behind me, everyone seems to be kind of going relatively slow just to stay safe on these roads. It's definitely not a bad thing, but it is going to be something to contend with as you make your way out the door this morning. Now, when it comes to trouble spots, there's really not one spot in particular. Everything in the FM area has pretty much this coating of ice on it. Some areas you're going to want to watch out for, obviously, are intersections, exits, anywhere where you're going to have to make a sudden turn or could have to come to a sudden stop. Those areas are where things might be getting interesting because of these slick conditions. You never know what's going to happen, so make sure to give yourself plenty of time as you make your way out the door today. We're going to keep checking out the roadways in the next hour on the Fargo CW, but for now, for your traffic on the move, I'm Devin Fry.
A child care center badly damaged by fire in South Fargo last week is back in business at a new location. Elam Children's Center reopened yesterday for the first time since the fire at Elam Care and Rehab Center last Thursday. Kids and staff are temporarily using a building owned by the Boys and Girls Club just off of University Drive until the end of May. Every table, chair, and toy has either been donated by other centers or people in the community. Daycare directors aren't sure where they'll end up after May, and it's still unclear when Elam residents will be able to return to that building.
A violent and aggressive phone scam is hitting the valley, and it's trying to convince people that their child has been kidnapped. Scammers are using a phone number out of Mexico with an area code of +52. A Grafton, North Dakota man got the call yesterday and says he was addressed by his first name. The first thing he heard was a little girl crying, screaming, and yelling for help and saying she had been kidnapped. Then a man with a Hispanic accent threatened to hurt and even kill the child. The scammer was swearing and extremely aggressive. That's when the man who was called hung up. Authorities say if you get a call like this, the most important thing you can do is remain calm. Document as much as you can. Record the call if possible, and then report it immediately to police. You should never comply with any demands that they make. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum laid out his priorities for 2020 in his State of the State. For the second year in a row, the governor took his speech on the road, this time to Grand Forks.
In his speech, Burgum spoke on a changing economy. And while much of the state's tax revenue and economic interest is in energy, he said North Dakota is in a global position few other states experience.
But we're in a position now where the United States remarkably is the largest oil producer in the world. And what does this mean? It means that this is the single biggest geopolitical shift since World War II.
Burgum says the state should reinvest half of the earnings from the state's voter-approved oil tax savings account to grow the fund's principal by billions of more dollars over the next decade.
He also says earnings from the oil account could help build infrastructure and provide property tax relief.
Some Minnesota Republicans are taking aim at voter privacy protection. Their bill would stop election officials from gathering information about which party's presidential primary ballot voters choose and would force a purge of any data already gathered in early voting ahead of the March 3rd Super Tuesday primary.
Bill sponsors say they've heard from constituents who fear their party information would be misused. The state Democratic Party chairman, though, says the bill would threaten the seating of Democratic delegates at this summer's national convention. The 2020 state legislature convenes next month.
It's the reaction that is being seen around the world. You've got to take a look at this.
Is worth about $400,000. You okay?
I hope his back is okay. A man in West Fargo is told the watch that he bought in the military for a few $100 is now worth well over $500,000. And we're still trying to figure out who that guy is.
Yeah, while serving in Vietnam more than 40 years ago, the Air Force veteran spent a month's salary on that Rolex watch. He says it sat in a box unworn for all that time, until this past summer, when he brought it to the Antiques Roadshow at Bonanzaville in West Fargo.
I certainly saw the best watch that I could ever see. I don't think I can beat this now. I mean, I've really, this is it. You know, I got the best one.
We're told the watch is the highest valued wristwatch ever appraised on the Antiques Roadshow.
And Dave, if you're watching or if anyone knows Dave or how to get a hold of him, give us a call. Send us a message on Facebook, something. We would love to talk to you about that.
Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. 75% of women say they like the way this looks, but they hate the way it feels.
The answer is stubble. I'm guessing on a man's beard.
Yes.
But not to make any judgments out there either way. Anyway, let's get a check of that weather.
We're looking at some icing conditions out there. It's going to be tough out there this morning. We're looking at some freezing drizzle. So that morning drive going to be quite hazardous for some of us. It may get a little better as those roads get treated today, but be aware we could be dealing with ice throughout the day and some snow on top of that too. And of course, your visibility reports down with fog.
The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but you can join us for more live up-to-the-minute news and weather right now on the Fargo CW.